house was unnaturally still, a suffocating quiet that pressed against the walls like an invisible force. The comforting background hum of daily life. Distant traffic, the ticking of the refrigerator, the creak of floorboards, was gone, swallowed by the eerie silence of the early morning hours. It was well past midnight, and Hannah, my wife, still hadn't come home. A gnawing unease coiled in my stomach, growing tighter with every passing minute. I tried to rationalize it, to push away the dread crawling under my skin. She had mentioned a work dinner, brushing it off with the kind of casual indifference that should have reassured me, but it hadn't. There had been something strange in her tone, detached, almost rehearsed. I checked my phone again. Still no messages. No missed calls. My thumb hovered over her contact, tempted to call, but I didn't. I didn't want to seem paranoid, though the pit in my stomach deepened with every second of silence. The wall clock ticked steadily, each tick a hammer blow echoing in the dimly lit living room. I sat alone, half shadowed by the lamplight, my thoughts spiraling into darker and darker places. At around 2 a.m., I finally heard the crunch of tires on gravel. My heart leapt. Relief and dread surged together, indistinguishable, as her car rolled into the driveway. I didn't move. I didn't know what I wanted to feel. Her return should have calmed me. But instead, it only sharpened the tension in the room. The front door opened with a groan. Her heels clicked softly on the hardwood, hesitant and uneven. The faint glow from the streetlight outside caught her silhouette as she stepped inside. She fumbled with her jacket, movements unsure. Something was off, visibly off. I flicked on the lamp beside me. The sudden light startled her. Hannah froze, eyes wide with shock, as though she had seen a ghost. Her usual poise shattered. She stumbled back a step, her face pale, lips parted but silent. "Late night?" I asked. My voice was low, too calm, the calm of the sea just before the storm. I leaned back in my chair, a glass of scotch in my hand, watching her closely. "I told you it was a work dinner," she said. Her voice quivered as she spoke. "I got it," I replied, raising an eyebrow. I took a slow sip, letting the silence stretch, letting her stew in it. Work dinners usually don't leave lipstick on another man's collar. Color drained from her face. Instinctively, she reached for her neck, brushing it with trembling fingers that came away stained slightly red. Her own lipstick. The air between us grew heavier, charged with everything unsaid. "Daniel, I can explain," she began. "Don't." I cut her off, my voice sharp, firm. I stood, setting my glass down with deliberate precision. My steps toward her were slow, calculated, but my thoughts were racing. She backed away, as if distance might protect her from the truth, crashing down on both of us. "Don't insult me by pretending there's an explanation I'd accept." "Who is he?" She opened her mouth, hesitated, then closed it again. Nothing came, just silence. And that silence screamed louder than any confession could. "I made a mistake," she whispered finally, tears glossing her eyes. "It meant nothing, Daniel. It was stupid, and I regret it. You think that makes it better?" My voice was ice now, jagged and dangerous. "That it meant nothing to you? That you could throw away everything we built over nothing?" Her tears fell freely now, streaking her carefully applied makeup. "Please, Daniel," she choked. "We can get through this. I love you." The word love struck me like a slap. Love? That wasn't love. Love didn't sneak around. Love didn't come home at 2 a.m. reeking of another man. Love was trust, and she had shattered it. I walked past her without another word, grabbed my coat from a rack. "Where are you going?" she asked, panic rising in her voice. "Don't wait up," I said, not looking back. That night, I didn't sleep. I wandered the city like a ghost, walking the routes we used to take together, haunted by the memories of what we once had. Each familiar street now taunted me with scenes of laughter and shared secrets, all rendered hollow. The pain ran deep, but as the first light of dawn broke over the skyline, something inside me shifted. My anger began to harden into resolve. She wouldn't destroy me. If she thought I'd go down quietly, she was mistaken. When I returned home, the house was silent again. She was either asleep or pretending. Either way, it didn't matter. I had decisions to make. Over the following weeks, I played the part of the heartbroken but hopeful husband. I told her I needed time, that I believed we could rebuild. I even went to therapy with her, listened to her remorse, held her when she cried. And while she poured her heart out, I stayed calm, calculated. I was laying the foundation for what would come next. First, I gathered everything, texts, emails, pictures. She had been careless. She assumed I wouldn't look. She was wrong. Then I spoke to my lawyer. Thankfully, I had always been meticulous about our finances. Most of our assets were in my name, protected by a solid prenuptial agreement. She had no idea how well I had insulated myself. And then I found him, Matt, a colleague, married, arrogant. I wasn't interested in a confrontation. Instead, I compiled the evidence and sent it all anonymously to his wife. Let her handle her end of the wreckage. The final blow came sooner than expected. One Saturday evening, I suggested a dinner party. Something small, just close friends. Hannah, desperate to prove herself, eagerly agreed. She had no idea what was coming. She played the perfect hostess. Laughed, smiled, poured drinks. But I watched her carefully, the mask she wore, the act. Then, halfway through the night, I stood and raised my glass. To new beginnings, I said, and to honesty. Her smile faltered, just slightly, but she clinked her glass to mine. I have a story I'd like to share. I continued, my voice steady. A little tale about love and betrayal. The room went silent. Hannah's face went pale as the realization dawned. Daniel, she whispered, but I held up a hand. Let me finish. I told them everything. Calmly, methodically. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The truth carried enough weight. I spoke of the infidelity, the lies, the evidence. Then I turned back to her. But don't worry, I said. The divorce papers are ready. The assets are safe. And Matt, he's dealing with his own fallout now. He sends his regards. Maybe. Hannah broke down in front of everyone, sobbing, but I felt no sympathy. The choices were hers. So were the consequences. The party ended in stunned silence. Our guest left quickly, avoiding eye contact. She tried to talk to me afterward, to plead, to apologize again. But I was done. A few days later, she packed her things. I watched her leave without saying a word. And then I sat alone in the quiet of the same living room, no longer haunted by silence but comforted by it. It wasn't the ending I had once imagined, but it was the one she had written. And now I was free. Free to rebuild. Free to find someone who understood that love, real love, isn't betrayal. It's loyalty. And next time, I would settle for nothing less.